Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Scully,
Yes?
marry me.
I love you and I like you.
I love you and I like you. I love that woman. I love her more than sharks love blood.
I love you.
You don't.
Hello everybody, this is Nerd Nuptial episode 9. We are so thankful that you are listening to us just for this episode and pretty much in general. We thank you so much for downloading, subscribing, and reviewing us and telling your friends about it, because we definitely think that people are out there telling their friends about this show.
Yeah, our numbers are going up, which is awesome.
Our numbers are going up, 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 and you guys are to thank for that. Like, you guys listening, being loyal listeners and telling your friends about it. And if you haven't told a friend about our show and you think they'd like it, tell your friends, because that's what I do. I tell people about our show all the time because I think they'll love it. So I'm telling people at work, people at just on the street.
Just random people?
Yeah.
That might come across as a little creepy.
Okay, well, maybe I should...
You might want to watch that.
Maybe I should scale that down a little bit, but you guys can do that. You guys listening to my voice, you can go to random people on the street and recommend this show. And before we get into our content today, I want to give, speaking of recommendations, I want to give my own recommendation because Audible is a partner of Nerd Nuptial, and we like to give recommendations on audiobooks. And so what you need to do, loyal listeners, is go to audibletrial.com/nerdnuptial. If you go there, you can get a free audiobook and 30-day free trial of Audible services. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from. The free book is whatever you want. It's not like sometimes when you sign up for a trial or sign up for a free book, it's like kind of like with like online movies, like, oh, you get a free movie of these 5 that we've picked for you. This one, that's not like that at all. You can listen to it on your Kindle, on your iPhone, on your Android, wherever. And the recommendation today is, well, I guess I can't really say it's a recommendation because I haven't finished it yet, but it's Neil Gaiman's American Gods.
Yeah, I haven't started this one, so you've got to talk.
Yeah, you haven't started this one yet. And the reason why I started this book is because the Starz Network is creating a television show based off of this book. And it's being created by Brian Fuller and Michael Green. Brian Fuller is a former Star Trek producer and now a future Star Trek producer for the show that's coming out in 2017. And so I was just like, okay, well, if he sees promise in this, and we have some friends who are huge Neil Gaiman fans, I was like, I need to give this a shot. I'm only about 5 hours into this audiobook, and it's starting kind of slow, to be honest with you. But the reason why I keep listening is because they keep peeling away the onion a little bit more, and it makes me want to listen to more. Even though it's slow, I'm just like, I gotta find out. I gotta find out more, because crazy stuff happens, and then you're like, ooh, it's kind of like an episode of Walking Dead. Crazy stuff happens, and then nothing for a long time. You're like, oh, I'm gonna turn this off, and then crazy stuff happens. But with this one, the thing that really, really draws you in is a full cast. I am a sucker for a full cast audiobook. We're talking every single character has their own voice.
That's awesome.
There's a narrator and a voice for every character. It's really great.
Cool.
So yeah, so far I can't really comment on the book so much, but the audiobook of American Gods is stellar. It's top notch. It's well done.
Well, and it'd be cool to read it before that show comes out.
I think so too. Now, we have some nerd news. We don't normally do news segments on Nerd Nuptial, but seeing how this is based on a property that you and I are very excited about.
Yeah.
I think it's good that we're talking about it, and that is Suicide Squad.
You heard a rumor.
I heard a rumor. See, that's the thing, folks, is that you probably know what I'm about to say. If you're as dogged on the internet as I am, or as interested in Suicide Squad as the girl is that there was a rumor that they're going back for reshoots. Now, this is nothing new. Every movie does reshoots.
Right.
Almost every movie does reshoots. It's like, oh, we forgot to get the car coming at this angle, or we totally forgot to get the protagonist walking out of this club, stuff like that. That happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the rumor is that they're going back for tens of millions of dollars of reshoots.
Yeah, and you mentioned it's because they want to make it more humorous.
Yes, more quote-unquote fun and lighthearted, because again, this is people are taking this as fact.
Okay.
And this is from a trusted source, air quotes,
okay.
Stuff like that. So WB has not released information saying like, oh yeah, this is totally happening as of the time that we're recording this. Like maybe, like down the line.
Maybe by the time we release it, it's possible.
It's a proven fact. But as of right now, as we're recording this, it's just a rumor. It's an unsubstantiated source. But they say that the preview, the second trailer, the one with the Queen song, that was like really jokey and fun and everything like that. Apparently, the rumor is that was all of the funny and lighthearted stuff from the movie.
Okay.
All put into one trailer. So it's twofold where they want to, they don't want to deceive the public because of the trailer. And second, people are saying that it's a response to the criticism of the dark and dreary tone of Batman v Superman.
Interesting.
What do you think about that?
Well, our personalities tend to like the more dark and sinister type superhero movies. So I understand how you want to have some humor in there, but that doesn't really make or break a superhero film for me. That's actually the reason why I don't enjoy Marvel, is because I feel like it's too cheeky, it's too jokey. So I'm not really thrilled with this news. I feel like sometimes when you go back and you do that type of work, reworking it probably might feel disconnected, or it might feel like two different movies. Something like that might happen. So I'm a little wary of it.
That's a big possibility. That's the first thing that popped into my head. Is I was like, okay, well, if they're going back and shooting lighthearted stuff, like, is it going to feel very different from the rest of it? Like, is it going to feel like what it is, where it's, like we have, a kick-ass scene or a really dramatic scene, and then boom, like splice in a joke, like, is it going to feel very out of place? But I guess that all depends on the editor.
True.
Like how good that editor is.
True.
Part of me is okay with it, part of me isn't. Because like when you hear like they're going back for reshoots, you're like, oh, okay, well they noticed a problem and they want to fix it. Good for them. Good for them.
And like you said, it's a common thing to go back through and do reshoots.
Exactly. But the other side is like, oh, if something's fundamentally wrong.
Is the film fundamentally wrong?
Wrong? And is it fixable? I'm worried that for exactly what you said, it's going to feel like two different movies smashed together. Kind of like, that was kind of my main criticism of X-Men First Class.
I was, just going to mention that.
You're just going to
mention that. I was just going to mention that.
Such schizophrenic editing. It felt like two directors.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm wondering, if this is going to feel like that. But at the same time, I want the movie I saw in the trailer.
Yeah, I do too. I want those funny but kind of dark humor moments that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Even if they are going back for reshoots, I don't think it's going to be to make it like Marvel. I don't... I
think with the material, I don't think that you can do that. I mean, if you... Already with those type of characters, they're very different characters. They're villains. So I don't think that you're going to have quite as... I mean, I know that tons of people love Marvel, but the cheesiness of Marvel, I don't think you're going to get that. Even though they might be going back for reshoots and trying to get more laughs.
Yeah, and also the source material. The source material is funny.
Right.
The Suicide Squad has a comedic slant to it. It's over the top. It's crazy. It's dark humor. It's a black comedy kind of deal to it. And that's why part of me doesn't believe the rumor, just because how could you not make the Suicide Squad movie like the one that we saw in the trailer from the word go? Yeah,
I would be surprised just with those characters alone that you wouldn't have some of that humor brought out.
Yeah, there's only two ways I'm going to believe the rumor. If WB confirms it, or if somebody gets paparazzi shots of them, like we see, like Will Smith, in his costume again.
And this could be just a rumor that is popping up because people had such mixed reviews of Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it feels like a knee jerk. It feels like someone's toying with the franchise. But then again, I mean, we're not experts. We're not in the know. So all we know is what they report on these blogs and on these websites. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because I'm worried because they have to do such massive reshoots. But at the same time, I want the movie that they promised us.
Exactly. Yeah. We watched the trailer again. I realized that you're going to be in Las Vegas when it comes out, and I'm really upset.
That's right.
I'm like legitimately I was upset. I'm kind of panicky.
I fly back that Sunday.
It's true.
So I could
You're
just
gonna be exhausted.
I'll be
but
exhausted. I could get right off the plane and then
we'll just go straight to the
go to the movie and then do the review.
All right.
All right, we could technically do that. Yeah, like I'm going to, for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who follow me on To the Journey on Trek.fm, I will be going to the Vegas Star Trek convention in August, and it's for the 50th anniversary, and it's the first Vegas convention I've ever been to, and I'm going to have a lot of fun. And you are not a Star Trek fan, so you are not going with me.
Nope.
It'd be a huge waste of money.
It's true. So have fun.
And that's actually something that we might talk about in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Is the franchise, like this was a listener suggestion, the franchises that divide us.
That divide the household.
That divide the household. So,
but something that we're finding is that there's not a lot of things that I like that you don't like. And I guess that just means that my taste is just so amazing.
Oh, it's just so...
I just have such great taste.
You're such an evolved being in the realm of
taste
beyond me.
Hey, you said it. I didn't. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
noticed.
That's
what we're struggling to find is just what exactly divides us. Because there's a lot of things that you like that I don't like. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot that I like that you don't like.
Well, I think this is for a conversation for
later.
For later.
Sounds good.
But I think that's just because I have diversified interests.
Oh, okay.
That's how I like to see it.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Well, before we get into our topic of the day, which we actually haven't even told you guys what we're talking about yet, we have some 5-star reviews that we want to mention.
A lot of them.
We have a lot.
Which is awesome.
A lot of 5-star reviews. They're popping up like daisies.
It's awesome.
And
keep them coming.
Keep them coming, guys, because as you know, is that if you write us a 5-star review, we will mention you on the podcast. And if you don't write us a 5-star review, like you can write us whatever type of review you want, whether it's 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever you want. But 5 stars will get you mentioned. And we have several to mention, and we have one from Heather B. Parenthetical OG Trek Geeks Girl. So there you go. Long name, but full of information. And then we have Heather Hearts Dogs 73, ED_Tiberius, Music Teach 6484, M Clark Program. Love that name. It makes me think of Tron. Like he's the program Clark.
Yeah,
you know?
It does.
Miss Robin 3636, Drop Threat 72, Boba Fett 2016. I know Boba Fett 2016. And if you're listening, I appreciate you. He is my little cousin, your little cousin, I mean, our little cousin. But if he is listening, check out Aggressive Negotiations, which is on our network at thenerdparty.com. I think you'll like it. All right. So if you haven't written a 5-star review, please do. It takes 5 seconds. You can do it straight from your phone. And we really do appreciate it because it helps us out a lot on the network.
Absolutely.
All right. So our topic today is movies that we rewatch all the time, but before we start listing them, I kind of want to talk about what makes a movie rewatchable, because in the nerd community, and especially in this household, the movies we love.
It's true.
And we rewatch them over and over again. Now, I want to mention something to you. There is a term on the internet called Shawshanked.
That's what the kids are saying?
That's what the kids are saying, because I'm on urbandictionary.com, and there's no higher court in the land than urbandictionary.com.
Oh, no.
And so Shawshanked, the condition of having been sucked in by a highly watchable movie while channel surfing or walking past a TV, originally derived from the Shawshank Redemption. Here it is in context. Dude, I was in Best Buy getting a printer cable, and I got Shawshanked in the TV section for like 30 minutes by the first Matrix movie.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So what makes a movie
Shawshankable?
Shawshankable. What makes a movie Shawshankable?
I think it's the characters for me.
Yeah?
I think so. I definitely think it's a character thing for me. Is those characters that I love and that I can rewatch over and over again. I also think it has to do with quotes that like this characters say that you tend to just latch onto and want to replay over and over again. And obviously good storyline, but I think it's character for me.
So is it memorable characters, or is it like just well-written characters, or what is it that sticks out to you?
It's probably memorable characters, I would say, like unique, memorable characters that you don't, you're not just run of the mill, but really well played, quirky type characters, I think.
Now, there are people who I don't trust. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them.
All right.
Where they've come into our house and they've crossed through our threshold. And they see our movies and they're like, wow, that's a lot of movies. You know, like, you have a lot of movies. Do you watch all these? I was like, yeah. Yeah, of course I do. Why else would I own them?
Of course.
And they said, like, well, do you watch them more than once? It's like, yeah, I do. I watch all of these more than once.
What a waste would that be if we just bought the movie every single time we wanted to watch a movie? I mean, we watch it all the time.
It's so strange because people will be like, there's so many people I know out there who will say, like, oh, I saw it in the theater. I was like, oh, are you going to buy it? They're like, why would I buy it? I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, it's weird to us.
I can't get that type of thinking. If you watch a movie and you really enjoy it, why wouldn't you watch it again? I think their argument is that I already know what's going to happen. What?
Don't you want to see it again?
Yeah, you can analyze it. You can find new things from it. Just imagine if people only saw Hamlet once.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's so many themes.
I was going to say our culture would probably be very different if they only saw it once.
Our culture, especially nerd culture, is based off of repeat viewings.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I am definitely I'm worse than you when it comes to rewatching.
You really are. I love rewatching movies. I love rewatching TV shows. But you have like a rotation of 5 TV shows and maybe 10 movies. That it's just like, whenever I say, hey, what do you want to watch? You go, Bing Bang Boom. And I go, we've already watched Bing Bang Boom last month.
Yeah, I like what I like, and I like to watch it over and over again. And we're actually not even going to mention certain movies because we mention them too often because I love them so much. This has been a problem since the very beginning because I think I've mentioned before, I would go into the movie rental store as a kid, you know, when that was a thing. I'd always want to get the same movie.
What? Okay, we've talked about this, and I feel like so many other people who listening to our voices have to have the same kind of memories.
Oh yeah.
What movies did you beg your parents to rent over and over again? Because back then, like, VHS movies were like $40, $50 to buy. That's why it was so
It's true. It was a big deal
rent.
if you bought one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Princess Bride.
Naturally.
Yeah, that one I watched over and over again. And then we often would record off of TV different movies. So Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken, probably no one knows that movie.
My sister was obsessed with that movie.
That's about like this woman who like jumps horses off of...
She's a horse diver,
horse
jumper.
Which
she
really
rides
weird.
A horse off of a... off of a ledge into water.
That was definitely a guilty pleasure as a kid that I always watched over and over again. And then we would watch Peter Pan off the stage play with Mary Martin.
Yes.
Over and over again. I think those were the biggest ones growing up that we would watch over and over again.
I think Princess Bride was a big one. We taped that off of TV, and I think I even told a Princess Bride taped off a TV story on the show before.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what movies like I just begged, because I have so many clear memories of my parents going, no.
Yeah, I can imagine as a parent just being so frustrated.
Not renting this again. I think there was Muppet movies. I wanted them to rent for me constantly.
We had a lot of those taped.
Yeah, and also Star Trek movies, because like whenever there was a Star Trek movie, I needed to watch it. Whenever, like, sometimes rare times you could get episodes on VHS at a rental place. I mean, it was like a great white elk. It was so rare because you could barely find those to buy, let alone to rent.
Even a few years ago, that was hard to buy.
Yes, it was. And I remember when Star Trek Generations came out. That was before anybody really knew when a movie was going to come out. Like, Batman vs. Superman announced that they're going to have the Blu-ray ready in July. It just came out in theaters a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Last weekend. But back then...
you were waiting a long time.
And you had no idea when it actually was going to come out.
It's true.
And so I remember...
There's a lot of suspense with that.
The movie rental house, nobody calls it that.
Just you. It's okay.
It wasn't because it wasn't a Blockbuster, so it was, the rental place, whatever.
That's right.
It was right next to our grocery store. So every single time we went to go grocery shopping, I said, Mom, Dad, let me go run into the video store to see if Star Trek Generations is in. They're like, oh my gosh, it's not out. You checked yesterday. They come out on Tuesdays, Tristan. Like, it's not.
That's awesome.
And I would run in and scan the S's and then be disappointed and then run back out.
That's so funny. While the frozen food was melting.
Yeah, while the milk was slowly spoiling. Okay, well, how about this? Let's go through. We have a list of movies, and guys, we're not lying to you whenever we say this. We have a literal list of movies just hanging out on our shelf right now as we're staring at it. And these are the movies that we think are the most rewatchable for us.
For our household.
When we're done with the episode, I'm going to remind you guys, but we want to hear from you. What movies do you rewatch all the time?
Yeah, and some of these are silly, like goofy movies, but they have a lot of rewatch value, and we're going to talk about why.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to know what you guys like. Go to facebook.com/thenerdparty or email us at contact@thenerdparty.com or write us a 5-star review and then ask us the question there, and then you'll be mentioned on the podcast. Or you can find me on Twitter @theinsanerobin. I want to know what you guys are like. Oh my gosh, yeah, I rewatch Blue Velvet all the time, and then I might think you're a little sick.
I was gonna say. All right.
Don't ask me why Blue Velvet was the first thing that popped in my head.
Kind of telling about what's going on in your head right now.
It is a merry-go-round of nonsense is what is inside my head. Much like David Lynch's mind. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go straight down the list. What's the first one you see?
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. Why do you like to watch Shaun of the Dead over and over again?
This movie is just so amazing. It's just so well written. The pacing of the movie is great. I love the characters a lot. All of them. Actually, not like sometimes you'll watch a movie and you're like, I didn't really like this. No, I love all of the characters.
Even the annoying ones.
Oh,
are
yeah.
fun.
No,
yeah.
They're amazing. You know what's going to happen after you've watched it for the first time, but it doesn't matter because I just want to see it every single time. And I love reliving those silly moments in this movie. It's hilarious. We rewatched this so many times that you and I, like, I'm sure every other married couple on the face of the earth, when we say like, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? You know, be like, I don't know. What do you want to do for dinner? Like, one of us will go, Winchester? And put our hands in that little W. We don't even have a Winchester go-to, but that's pretty much our signal to say like, yeah, we don't know. Yeah. And I think something that makes a good movie, and kind of like what you talked about Shawshanking, which I did not know until this episode, but it meant.
Shawshanked.
Oh, Shawshanked. Just shows you how out of touch I am. We were at a hotel the other day, and this was on, and we have this at home, but we started watching this movie because we just love this movie. So as we're like, you know, away from home, even though we could pop this in anytime, we were like drawn in again by this movie, even though we've seen it a million times.
Side note, okay, whenever I visit my parents, or whenever we're hanging out with your parents, and they're watching a movie on television in like crappy quality and commercials and everything like that, I go, you know you own this, right? They're like, yeah. So all you have to do is walk downstairs and grab the DVD? Yeah. So why aren't you doing that? Like it's just maddening.
Your parents do that more than my parents because they don't have that many movies. Yeah,
you're right. Like your parents have a handful.
Your parents have a lot of movies, so
it bugs the crap out of me. Because all I'm thinking is just like, oh, then I'd have to go downstairs. Anyway, let's get back to it. So I think the next one on our list, I'm sensing a theme here.
There is a theme, yeah.
Zombieland.
Which is hilarious if you've not seen it.
If you haven't seen this, please do.
It's so
Don't
funny.
let Jesse Eisenberg in Batman v Superman be your only impression of the actor.
He's funny in this.
He is hysterical. He's such
awkwardly
a good actor.
funny. And it's great. And Woody Harrelson is hilarious in this one, too.
I never really liked Woody Harrelson until this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I was never really a big Woody Harrelson fan. Like, I can recognize that he's a good actor, but I didn't really like the movies he chose.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know why I rewatched this movie? For the Bill Murray moment.
The Bill Murray cameo. Yeah. On the Senate floor, we did our favorite cameos.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, my host did favorite guest appearances. I did favorite cameos. And Bill Murray was one of my top ones, if not my top one.
Oh my gosh. That moment where they're in his house and like doing all the Ghostbusters references and then he pretends to be a zombie. It's just so funny. It's hilarious.
You guys need to watch this movie because I love that we didn't just get one funny zombie film. we got 2 funny zombie films in I think around the same time, or like Zombieland was a little after. I can't remember what dates they came out. I love this movie. I think Emma Stone's great. Abigail Breslin is totally
Tolerable.
So yeah, you guys, and it's pretty much it's just the 4 of them and Bill Murray, right? Actually, no, there's that woman at the beginning,
right?
But yeah, it's a very minimal cast. We don't even know their real names. And
I love that. I love how they're named after the towns or cities that they're from.
They tried to make it into a TV show on Amazon Prime, and
Did they really?
I have no idea if it saw the light of day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't going to have the original people in it though.
Okay.
So I don't know. I hope that there's been rumors of a sequel for a long time, so I hope that
I think that could be fun.
This movie could be a great sequel.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of movies out there that get sequels that don't deserve it. I think this one does.
Yeah. I like the characters enough that I would love to see that.
All right, what's next on the list?
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
There's a couple of Wes Anderson films in this list,
There
and this
is.
is the first of it. Fantastic Mr. Fox. This was Wes Anderson's first film in claymation.
Yeah.
In stop motion.
Yeah, puppets.
He's doing another one. That's going to be his next film.
Oh, is he really?
Yes, he is.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I can't remember if it was announced what it was going to be, but he did say it was going to be stop motion.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite stop motion movies of all time. I mean, like, second only to Nightmare Before Christmas.
I think that the dry sense of humor throughout it is what really gets to us. Yes, kids can watch it, but it really is for adults to pick up on that dry sense of humor, and we absolutely love that.
Which I think is really funny because you and I just were rolling the first time that we watched this. It just clicked with us. It was like it was made specifically for us.
Yeah, almost like an inside joke to us.
And I love it when a movie feels that way because it knows its audience, and we are that audience. We tried to show it to both sets of our parents. They did not laugh once.
Nope.
Throughout the entire movie.
It's definitely a generational type sense of humor, I believe.
Yeah.
That dry, offbeat, kind of odd, like saying odd things and then it becomes a thing.
And speaking of quotable, like you mentioned that earlier.
Gosh. We quote this all the time in our house.
Like one of my favorite parts is where they're doing a lab experiment. And one of the foxes is with his lab partner, but she's paying attention to his cousin. He's like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be my lab partner." "I am your lab partner." "No, you're not. You're disloyal." And when you take that out of context, you're like, why would that be funny?
But it is.
But it's hilarious. It's the delivery.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson's delivery from his actors is second to none.
It's true. Yeah. We actually, the game in Fantastic Mr. Fox is called Hotbox. And we both share a Dropbox account. And we've named it to Hotbox.
And so every single time it's like, "Oh, hey, honey, can you send me that PDF?"
Or is it a Hotbox?
Yeah. Hotbox. Guys, even if you don't like Wes Anderson, at least give Fantastic Mr. Fox a shot.
Yeah, it's really funny.
It's really funny. It's very different from his other films.
It is.
And so if you're just like, Wes Anderson's too stylized for me, he's, try Fantastic Mr. Fox.
It's
based
great.
off the Roald Dahl book.
Yeah.
All right. Another animated film, not stop motion, but CGI, and that is Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, I love Wreck-It Ralph. I love the idea of it so much with, all of these games, video games the characters coming to life and like meeting that Grand Central Station type deal and, kind of interacting with each other. I also really love the protagonist, well, kind of like protagonist, antagonist with Ralph. And I love Vanellope. We love Sarah Silverman's character in this. It's just so funny and very quotable.
This movie is a movie that I did not think I was going to like.
Yeah.
I put this off for a very long... We put this off for a very long time. Yeah, we did. Because when the trailers were out, we're just like, it didn't look that good. And, like Disney without Pixar, what's the point? But we watched it, and it was kind of like Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. We're like, holy crap, this is funny. This is great.
It was, I think it's so funny. I think it's the characters that really make this one. And their interaction between the two.
That's a common theme that you're saying, and so it must be true because you said it at the beginning that that's the main thing that makes it rewatchable for you. Yeah, I think it's fun and lighthearted. A lot of people like the first half of the film.
Oh, okay.
But then once it transitions into the second half, they're like, oh, it's just another Disney film. And I can see why they say that.
I can see it too.
Yeah.
I can,
but it's not enough to deter me from loving it.
I think it's still the concept of this movie is really creative. Just the whole idea of like these cross worlds. I love like kind of like the Mario Kart inspiration with the carts, like how you build your own cart and kind of like Candyland going on, you know, all the stuff that they've made. And I have to say, every time we go into Dave & Buster's, I kind of have that Wreck-It Ralph like moment where I'm like, that'd be so cool if that was real.
Now they know that we go to Dave & Buster's.
Yeah, we go to Dave & Buster's.
We go like early in the morning.
Yeah, when like no one's there.
No one's there, so that we can just run around the arcade by ourselves. Guys, we're not making this up.
And then we have lunch at Dave & Buster's.
We eat at Dave & Buster's.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, the fries are really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph is just fantastic. There's one joke. It kind of makes me sad when you think about it. Like,
if you think too hard, it's a little sad.
If you think about it too hard, it's a little sad. But like Vanellope like has a little hole that she lives in, and she has a wrapper that she uses as a blanket. She's like, I just go over here and wrap myself up like a little homeless lady. And you start laughing, and then you're like, oh, that's sad.
It's true. She lives in the level wasn't finished.
Yeah, they hid it in the code.
Right, yeah.
Because that actually happens.
Right.
It's so great because they're like, it was a bonus level. It was
a
bonus game.
level, that's right.
Yeah, that they never finished, so that they had to write the code around it.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's so genius.
It's great.
It's such a great concept, especially for like people who were born in the 70s or 80s and like went to an arcade, an actual arcade. You know, like there was a lot of in-game references in that.
Absolutely.
I think we should watch that tonight.
I think we should too.
All right, next one, a total shift in tone.
I was going to say.
Very different from the rest of the ones on this list.
Sorry, I made the list.
What's next on the list?
Goodfellas
Came out in 1990. Marty Scorsese, one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, it's very dark compared to the other choices we have here. But just such a good gangster movie. Such great performances.
We love gangster movies.
Yeah.
Real gangster movies like Godfather.
And this is just such a classic gangster movie, in our opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like such a classic that Turner Classic Movies was hosting a contest.
Yeah.
For like, you're supposed to stand in front of the camera and review a movie like Robert Osborne did. And I was like, holy crap, that is a dream job. I would love to have Robert Osborne's job where
that is the dream.
He just walks in, talks about the history of movies, and then presents a movie. And it's like, here we have Grace Kelly and Clark Gable. You know, it's just, oh my gosh, yeah. And so I was just like, oh, so let's do this. And I was like, what's an American, like, what's a classic movie that we love? And I was like, Goodfellas. I was like, well, it came out in 1990. Well, that's 26 years ago.
Yeah. To our minds, it wasn't that long ago, but it really is.
It really is. It was 26 years ago. And what we did was, like, we did it like the movie itself, where we actually drove around in a car, had a camera hooked up to the car. It was like that scene where he's trying to get rid of the silencers and the pistols in that paper bag. And
we dressed up.
And driving around like he thinks the helicopters are chasing him. And so we filmed that, and then I did narration over top.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
We had so much fun.
We did not win.
We did not win. We were completely robbed. Because the person
I'm sure everyone else felt that way too.
No, but here's the thing, is that there was tons. I saw a whole bunch, and there was a whole bunch that was better than ours.
Okay.
Like, there were people who was really inventive.
Like, really legit. Okay.
Legit,
All
really
right.
great camera presence, but the person who won was horrible. And it was such a horrible video. And like, I remember,
you're not bitter at all.
I remember the notes, like the website said, oh, the reason why so and so won is because they made it black and white and added some distortion, like the movie she was talking about. Oh well, did you see ours where we filmed in a car and hooked up our camera to the windshield? No, maybe you didn't.
Like I said, you're not bitter at all.
I've moved on.
You've totally gotten over it.
I have moved on.
Sure.
I am.
It really sounds like it.
Clean and clear and under control. That's what I am inside.
Actually, some of my students found that video.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, "What was that?" I was like, "Nothing. Don't talk to me."
Yeah, because we made a trailer for one of your plays, and I put it on the same channel, and then people saw the trailer, and they're like, "Oh, what's this other one?"
Your viewer count went up really fast, yeah.
I got a lot of subscribes on my channel. I was like, "Oh crap!" So I immediately unlisted it. But I don't know. I might put it on the website.
Okay.
It'll be embedded in the text. The video will be embedded in the text of this episode.
Cool.
Well, we didn't really talk about the movie too
No,
terribly
we really
much.
didn't.
But anyway, okay, if you haven't seen it, it's a great gangster movie. It's got Bobby De Niro, it's got Joe Pesci, and it's got Ray Liotta. Joe Pesci won the Oscar for this.
Yeah. They're such unique characters. Mm-hmm. That's what really gets me with this one is that, and it's quotable too, with all the stuff that's going on in it.
We can't quote it on the podcast.
I was like, I can't say any of it, but I think one of the reasons why we watch it so often is when you're in that mood for a gangster type movie that's kind of like darker, but still has some comedic moments. I would say, in amidst all the death and killing and stuff like that.
All that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. Then it's a really good choice.
Yeah, this one is the epitome of Shawshanked to me. Like, this is the movie that no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, if it's on TV, I will sit down and watch it.
And get really excited, yeah.
And no matter, like, if there's 5 minutes left or 90 minutes left.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to be watching this movie because the story is so engrossing. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's what it is for me, is that the story is engrossing. It's interesting. You see the life of a gangster from beginning to pretty much end.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's just absolutely great. All right, next on the list is another Wes Anderson film. We warned you that there was more than one. And that is The Royal Tenenbaums. Tell me about that one.
This is probably one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie. I love this movie so much. I fall in love with the characters right away. Each and every one of them is flawed.
Beautifully flawed.
Beautifully flawed. There's so many moments that almost feel like out of a dream, like the way that he uses music to kind of go along with what's happening.
Like Gwyneth Paltrow walks.
Yeah, that's the bus moment is what I'm thinking about. Yeah. Whenever I think actually about this movie, I think that's the moment that I think of the most. I love the flashbacks. I think Gene Hackman is hilarious as the title character.
Gene Hackman is a genius comedian. He needs to do more comedy.
Yeah, seriously. I love that Alec Baldwin narrates it.
That's what I was going to mention. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie is that Alec Baldwin narrates it. You're just like, he needs to narrate more stuff because he does it as serious as possible, but yet he's talking about funny things. Mm-hmm. And it works. His tone, his voice, the verve of his vocalizations. It's just, he gets it. He got the movie.
He got the movie completely. I love the color palette for this film.
Mm-hmm. The house,
the detail. Oh my gosh, the detail of the house, that it matches the characters perfectly. Like each of their rooms reflects them. I love how they're each kind of need each other to build each other up and get to a better place because they all have kind of sunk to rock bottom. And Angelica Houston is in it, and she's amazing. I mean, what can you say? All of them are amazing.
This is lightning in a bottle. I think every single actor was perfect for this role, and every single character was perfect for the movie, and it just knocks it out of the park. There's a reason why there's a Criterion version of this movie. I mean, there's a Criterion version of all of Wes Anderson films, but there's a reason why this needs to be preserved, is because it is different, it's fun, it's quirky, and it gets you choked up at times.
Oh yeah.
Like when Ben Stiller says to Gene Hackman, "Dad, I've had a rough year."
Yeah.
He's like, "I know, son."
Oh my gosh, you just gave me chills.
I know. I had a moment exactly like that with my father. Yeah. Where I just broke down in front of him. I said, "Dad, it's been a rough year." And he's like, I know, son. And he gives me a hug. And so when I saw this movie, I'm getting emotional right now.
Right?
It's just like, it connected with me. It makes me laugh. And like, I know critics say that, oh, you'll laugh, you'll cry. But that's true with this movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it deals with some serious stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
It deals with suicide attempt. You know, it deals with
cancer.
It deals
whether
with,
it's fake or not.
Yeah, fake or not. You know, loss.
Death in a family.
Death in a family. But at the same time, there's humor in it. There's like humor in the flawed moments. There's
levity.
Yeah, there is. And the tone is always kind of the same throughout the entire thing where, it, you know, yes, it gets darker in points and whatnot, but you're along for the ride. And I love this movie so much. It has so much rewatch value.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, you need to.
I pick up on new things every time I watch it, too. I think that's one of those.
It's true. There is so much
I've watched it so many times.
packed into this film. I remember things like you point things out to me and I'm like, wow, I've seen this literally more than 15 times and I never noticed that before. It's not because we're not observant. It's just there's so much packed in there. So many hidden jokes, so many visual jokes that if you blink, you'll miss it. Right. And
I think that they just planned each shot appropriately, that it has sometimes to do with another thing. Like, you know, they're just all connected.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Now, for the longest time, Life Aquatic was my favorite Wes Anderson film.
That one we watched a lot, too.
And yeah, that's not on this list because we didn't want to bombard you too much with Wes Anderson. But yeah, for the longest time, that was my favorite one. I was like, no, I like Life Aquatic more than Royal Tenenbaums. And you're like, Royal Tenenbaums my favorite. And so I got you to appreciate Life Aquatic more.
Oh, yeah.
But you got me to appreciate Royal Tenenbaums more. And now I admit Royal Tenenbaums, I think, is the best Wes Anderson film ever made.
I love it.
All right, going down the list, we got a double bill. And
Kill
that is
Bill.
Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Volume 1 and 2. Originally crafted as one movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then Miramax, in their infinite wisdom, said, let's split it up so we can charge them double. Yeah, it's I'm glad that they did because I think it works. I think this is one of those times where splitting it up actually does work. Like Hunger Games, not so much.
This one, it definitely, and I think it helps the chapters.
Yes.
The structure of chapters really helps with splitting this one up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love the bride.
Beatrix
Kiddo. I love her so much. Uma Thurman is amazing.
She's fantastic. Yeah, she
this role is just fantastic. But what like a fun, powerful, like how fun would it be to play that role?
And that's the thing is that like her acting in this, there's certain times when it feels over the top. Well, obviously the movie's very over the top, but her acting is, if you were to dissect it, you're like, that's not very good acting. That doesn't feel believable. But
it works for this movie.
But it works for the movie. That's the thing is that like she's playing it dry or she's playing it over the top, but within the world, this Kill Bill world,
absolutely,
that exists, that kind of acting is okay. It's kind of like Brando's acting, you know, with him being a classically trained actor. He was sometimes over the top, but in that atmosphere, it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. This movie I saw in high school, and I remember just going over to someone's house, and they were like, "Have you seen Kill Bill? Like, you need to see Kill Bill." Because I was, you know, in film class and one of those film class nerds and stuff like that. And
I love you.
I know. That's what I
just wanted to say.
Thanks. So when I was watching it, I think I didn't watch the whole thing. I think I walked in during the crazy 88 part, and I was like, what is happening to me? This is amazing, and I need to see more because this is just something I've never seen before. It was so different, and that kind of got me started loving Quentin Tarantino. And that's actually one thing that we shared an interest in very early on, when we were starting to date. I love this movie, and you can watch it over and over again. I love how, like I said before, the chapters are split up. I love how each of her, you know, antagonists of, you know, the different villains that she has to take care of. I love that division.
Each fight is incredibly different between each person.
It's awesome.
So it doesn't get boring.
No. Yeah. And there's a lot of humor too in it. You know, I'm thinking about her walking she just like did this epic scene of like getting out of the dirt from the coffin, and then she's like walking into the diner, like she's walking kind of weird,
covered in dust and dirt.
Yeah, and she's like, water.
And she's like, I would like it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
This I need to show you some of the kung fu movies that Tarantino was inspired by, because like that.
Oh, I've seen a lot of them. When I got into Kill Bill in high school, I watched like a bunch of those because my film teacher was like, "You need to watch this movie, this movie, and this movie."
Good for you. Good for you, because people like so many people will rip on Tarantino for stealing stuff. And like
no, he's inspired.
Yeah, I think there's an argument that can be made between if Tarantino is inspired and not stealing, he definitely walks the line. But I do like his homages to several foreign films and kung fu films and everything like that. There's a few things where I'm like, wow, okay, you probably should have gotten the remake rights for that one. But there's a lot of other times where like so many filmmakers in our history see something that they like that's either like 50 years old or from another country, and then they borrow it, But that's for another discussion. But yeah, like we really like Tarantino in this house. And Kill Bill, I saw Kill Bill in high school too. And I remember I think I rented it. I didn't see the first one
I didn't either.
I didn't really like it that much the first time I saw it. I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know. Like, I hated the animation part, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, it was just a little bit too violent for me. I don't know. I started watching it. Like, I bought it at Blockbuster. It was for like $5. So I was like, okay, I'll give it another shot. And I started liking it more and more that I watched it. And me and my buddy Daniel, he loves Tarantino, and so we got a group of our friends together because the day that Volume 2 was coming out, we got all of our friends together. They came over to my house. We went downstairs to my basement and got our big screen TV, and we watched every single Tarantino film.
That's awesome.
From like the ones that he, even not the ones that he directed, the ones that he just wrote.
Oh wow!
And watched all of them all day, and then went to a midnight showing of Kill Bill Volume 2.
Nice, that's awesome.
And it was a lot of fun. And I like Volume 2 more than Volume 1.
I like Volume 1 better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I kind of view it all the same, but I would have to say that I think I like Volume 1 more.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're wrong, but okay. So we're going on for a while. So let's. We got 2 more on the list. One we absolutely have to talk about because this isn't just one that we rewatch all the time. This is just a straight up good movie.
Yeah, these last ones are kind of just like we just love watching them, and they're silly and goofy.
And that's Just Friends with Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart. This movie's hysterical.
We watch it every Christmas.
This is one of our Christmas movies. That's right.
It is.
I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's hysterical.
I love him in a fat suit. It's hilarious.
Singing Boys to Men.
Yes.
I mean, that movie sells itself.
I was going to say, that's why you rewatch it, because you want to see that.
You go, I can just see them go to the movie exec. They're like, okay, 3 things. Ryan Reynolds in a fat suit singing Boys to Men. Yeah. And they go, sold.
Anna Faris is in this, too.
This is what made me fall in love with Anna Faris.
Hilarious. Hilarious. So funny.
She's a very underrated comedian.
Oh, yeah.
Her delivery is spot on. Her portrayal of that blonde, ditzy singer, needy pop star, like an amalgamation of Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Jessica Simpson. It was for the time that it came out, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Because all of those people were just ruling the earth and just inundated our culture. And so they made a parody of it. And Ryan Reynolds, a music exec, obsessed with himself, who used to be fat, but now he's super skinny and hot. And though he goes back home, it's so crazy. And like so many things happen that you're just like, oh my God, this can't get any worse. And it does. Oh, I love this.
Yeah, I love the family relationship a lot too. I love like the mom who's that really high pitched voice, and
we all have that.
Is always on the phone, the other line, and the brother relationship is so funny. How they're always like hurting each other, and and then they're like, "I love you." I know.
Yeah, they're smacking each other. They hate each other, but then like it's Christmas time, and they're like, "I love you."
I love you too.
I love you too. It's so real.
Yeah.
This movie, okay, when we were first started dating,
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to buy Christmas presents for your family. I wanted to make a good impression. And I was like, okay, your dad, he's a dad. You know, like, he watches movies. What kind of movies does he like? Like, what can I buy him? And I pitched one movie. I was like, is he a Transformers guy? I'm going to buy him Transformers. Every dad likes Transformers. And you're like, he doesn't like Transformers. He's more of a Godfather and Just Friends kind of guy. Okay.
You were just like, really? What does that even mean?
What does that mean?
But
He's
those
like,
are two movies he really enjoys.
he loves those. Those are great movies, but that does not define a person's tastes.
No, it does not. It's hilarious.
And the thing is that
he loves Ryan Reynolds in that fat suit.
You did not recognize the problem with your answer.
No,
in the
but
moment.
I was just like, that's what he likes.
That's what he likes.
He likes, Godfather movies and Just Friends.
We can't put your father in a box.
That's right.
That's just how.
It's cool.
That's
Whatever.
what I took away from it. All right. Well, we're coming up on an hour, so how about we do our last one?
Yay! I love
Baby
this
Mama.
one. Baby Mama. This one.
This one's yours.
It's totally mine. I watch this one so often that you were like, when I'm by myself, you're like, "Are you watching Baby Mama?" Like, is that what you're doing right now?
Like, I text you from work. I'm like, Baby Mama or Mean Girls, isn't it?
I love Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. They're some of my favorite comedians and
writers and producers.
Producers. They do it all. And to put them together in this movie, it's just, there's just so many funny moments in it. And I just love the chemistry between the two of them. And I just adore this film.
It's such a funny situation. It's a comedy about surrogacy.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought that would have been funny? But it's hysterical. I mean, there's a reason why these two people hosted the Golden Globes twice. Is because
no kidding.
People love them. They're dynamic together. Even though they are fantastic writers on their own, they're fantastic producers on their own, they're fantastic actresses on their own, but put together, they are a powerhouse.
It's so true. It's so true. And I mean, is this a perfect movie? No, it's not. It's not even, it's like a silly movie, but it is definitely one that I watch over and over and over again.
There's one moment that's in my head all the time. Whenever I see a vanity license plate, like the deadbeat boyfriend of Amy Poehler says on his license plate it says "My girl rocks," and then like when they break up, he points at his car. He's like, "My girl rocks. My girl does not rock." Like, that is in my head all the time. And then like he starts to drive away, comes back out. He's like, "I'm gonna bang your friends. Consider them all banged."
It's so funny. The moment that I always think about is when Amy Poehler is supposed to be pregnant, but she's not pregnant, and she dyes her roots. And then Tina Fey is like, "Are you kidding me?" And she puts her in the shower. And then Amy Poehler's like, "I'm clean. I'm clean."
I'm clean. Oh, guys, watch this movie.
It's so funny.
So fun. But everything we said tonight, watch.
Yeah.
A few people wrote in and like our what movies that meant the most to us, like into our relationship. A few people wrote in and said, "Hey, I gave The Fountain a try. I gave A Lake House a try, and I loved it."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
That makes me happy too. Yeah.
Very cool.
So thank you to those people. So and if we influence your movie choices, or if like you try a movie that you didn't think you would like and you did like it because we recommended it, let us know. Write us at contact@thenerdparty.com or go to facebook.com/thenerdparty.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we look at this list, and they're silly movies, some of them, and other ones, it's like, no, we just really love this movie because it has, like we said, a lot of rewatch value. And a lot of that, I think, goes to the characters. I think it goes to those moments we just mentioned that are silly and you just want to see over and over again, or those quotable moments. Yeah. Shawshank.
That is, like, this list is the essence of Shawshank.
That's right.
Although Shawshank Redemption's not on this list.
Well, how can you watch that over and over again?
I like watching it over and over again.
It's a great movie, but
it takes a lot out of you.
It does. It's emotionally draining.
Yeah, but I remember, like,
it's a great movie.
When I lived at home, because we don't have cable, we don't have TV. We just have Netflix and iTunes and everything like that. But when I lived at home, like, that was, I think, TNT only played like 4 movies.
Shawshank was one of them.
Shawshank was one of them.
Of course,
and pretty much whenever it was on, I was like, all right, I guess I'm watching this,
Yeah, that's a great movie, but I can't watch that over and over again. I'd be depressed.
Well, how about you guys tell us what you can watch over and over again?
Yeah.
Like I said, email us at contact@thenerdparty.com or go to facebook.com/thenerdparty. Make sure to use our Audible trial link. Go to audibletrial.com/nerdnuptial. Even if you're thinking about it, if you're like, wow, I really want to try Gone Girl, I really want to try The Martian, or I really want to try American Gods, you have nothing to lose by signing up. Yeah. Absolutely nothing to lose. It's completely free. Use our link, audibletrial.com/nerdnuptial. And we appreciate any reviews and any feedback you can give us. But until next week, I love you.
I know.
Oh my god! I just wrote a new song. You have to hear it. This one's called Forgiveness. Forgiveness is more than saying sorry. To forgive is divine, so let's have a glass of wine and have make-up sex until the end of time.